March 17, 1943. Berlin. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, chief of German military intelligence, the aware, stares at a single sheet of paper. His hands tremble, not from fear of the Gestapo, not from exhaustion, but from the sheer, unbearable weight of truth. According to intercepted communications, according to agents in Mexico City, Stockholm, Madrid, the Ford Motor Company's Willow Run plant in Michigan is producing one B-24 Liberator heavy bomber every hour. One bomber every 63 minutes, rolling off an assembly line longer than a mile. Built by women, by black workers, by teenagers, by a nation Hitler called mongrel, decadent, Jew-ridden. Canaris knows what this means. It's not just production. It's mathematical inevitability. If these numbers are true, and every source confirms they are, then Germany has already lost the war. But when he presents this report to Hermann Göring, Reichsmarshal of the Luftwaffe, the response is laughter. Wooden mock-ups, Göring sneers. American propaganda. And so begins the greatest intelligence failure in modern warfare, not a failure to gather facts, but a failure to believe them. To understand why Nazi Germany refused to believe the truth about American industry, we must go back to the 1920s and to the core of Nazi ideology itself. For Hitler and his inner circle, America was a paradox. On one hand, it was a land of technological marvels, the Chrysler Building, the Model T, Hollywood. On the other, it was a degenerate society, racially impure, politically chaotic, spiritually hollow. In Mein Kampf, Hitler wrote, "America is half Jewish, half Negro, overrun by immigrants. It has no soul, only machines." This belief wasn't just prejudice, it was strategic dogma. If democracy produced weakness, if racial mixing bred inefficiency, then America could never match the disciplined, racially pure German war machine. Even after Pearl Harbor, Göring told Hitler, "The Americans can build refrigerators and razor blades, not bombers. Their democracy makes them slow. Their Jews make them corrupt." This wasn't ignorance. It was ideological blindness. And it was about to be tested by a factory in the flat farmland of Michigan. In 1941, as Europe burned, Henry Ford, now in his late 70s, made a promise to President Roosevelt. "We'll build bombers like we build cars." Skeptics laughed. A B-24 Liberator weighed 18 tons. It contained 1.5 million parts for 150,000 rivets, 30,000 components. Consolidated Aircraft, the original manufacturer, needed 180,000 man-hours per plane, built outdoors, one at a time. But Ford's production chief, Charles Sorensen, had a vision. He called it the Bomber Stream. At Willow Run, he built the largest factory under one roof in the world, 3.5 million square feet, so vast that clouds formed inside. Workers joked, "It rains indoors." He broke the bomber into 60,000 separate operations. Each worker, many of them women who'd never held a tool before, performed one task, over and over. "Train them in days, not months," Sorensen said. By early 1943, Willow Run employed 42,000 people, 11,000 women, 26%, 3,800 African Americans, 9%, 1,200 disabled workers. To the Nazis, this was heresy. Their master race couldn't even match the output of inferior races working in harmony. But the numbers didn't lie. In April 1944, Willow Run hit its peak. 453 B-24s in 468 hours. One bomber every 63 minutes. German intelligence didn't need spies in Detroit. The truth came to them from everywhere. In Mexico City, oil executive Harold Morrison, after a few tequilas at a German-hosted reception, described Willow Run in awe. They produce sections like rivers flowing into the sea. Wings from one side, fuselages from another, they meet like clockwork. A German agent, posing as an Argentine leather merchant, memorized every word. In Madrid, Colonel José Ungría of Franco's army met Charles Sorensen at a diplomatic cocktail party. Sorensen, thinking Spain might buy planes after the war, boasted, We train 8,000 workers a week. Women are better at detailed work, smaller hands, more patience. The report reached Berlin within 2 weeks. In Stockholm, Swedish engineer Erik Lundberg visited the plant and filed a stunned assessment. Efficiency that defies European understanding. Capital investment, $200 million for tooling alone. Even Japan confirmed it. A coded message from Tokyo, intercepted by German naval intelligence, read, "This single factory produces more aircraft monthly than the entire Japanese aviation industry." By April 1943, Canaris had 17 independent sources, all saying the same impossible thing. He authorized Operation Pastorius, a desperate plan to send saboteurs into the U.S. via U-boat. One team, led by George John Dash, a German-American who'd lived in New York for 20 years, was ordered, bring back proof. But Dash, overwhelmed by what he already knew, surrendered to the FBI within days. During interrogation, he told Agent Charles Landman, "I tried to tell them, if Ford could build a car every minute before the war, they could build a bomber every hour during it. They called me a defeatist." On Hitler's 54th birthday, April 20th, 1943, Canaris traveled to Karen Hall, Göring's extravagant estate north of Berlin. He brought everything. Photographs of the assembly line. Railroad manifests showing 16 million pounds of aluminum shipped monthly. Intercepted payroll records. Aerial recon from a Spanish diplomat. He laid them on Göring's oak table like a poker hand that would lose the war. Her Reichsmarschall. Willow Run produces one B-24 every hour. Göring, now weighing over 280 pounds, picked up a photo and scoffed. "Do you take me for a fool? These are wooden props." American theater. When Canaris showed aluminum shipment data, Göring laughed. Where do they get this metal? From their Negro workers? From their women riveters? A week later, Canaris briefed Hitler himself at the Wolf's Lair. Hitler, planning Operation Citadel, the Battle of Kursk, barely looked up from his maps. "Admiral, a bomber is not a car. It requires precision, skill, dedication. To claim they built this factory and achieved this output in 16 months, it's impossible." General Jodl did the math. Even if 1/4 is true, Hitler cut him off. The figures are false. Unknown to them, Canaris had something even more damning. Film footage. Smuggled via Swiss and Spanish channels, it showed 5 minutes of the Willow Run line in motion. Clocks visible, B-24s gliding past. He and his deputy, Hans Oster, watched it in a locked room. Oster whispered, "My God, it's true." Canaris lit a match. Watch the film curl into ash. "We cannot show this to them. They would accuse us of treason or forgery." Reality doesn't wait for ideology to catch up. On February 20th, 1944, big week, the U.S. 8th Air Force launched Operation Argument. Over 1,000 heavy bombers struck German aircraft factories. In 6 days, they dropped more tonnage than the entire Blitz on London. Luftwaffe ace Adolf Galland radioed Göring in despair. Her Reichsmarschall, "I've counted over 800 bombers in one formation. These planes are real, and they're dropping real bombs." By D-Day, June 6, 1944, 11,000 Allied aircraft darkened the skies over France. The Luftwaffe could muster fewer than 300 fighters. Field Marshal Hugo Spurl sent a final message to Berlin. "The enemy's aerial superiority is absolute. Our intelligence was correct. We were deceived not by the Americans, but by ourselves." The numbers tell the full story. Total B-24s produced, 18,188. Willow Run share, 8,685. Peak monthly output, 650 bombers. Cost per plane dropped from $238,000 to $137,000. Meanwhile, Germany's entire aircraft industry, from 1933 to 1945, invested $400 million. Willow Run alone cost $200 million. The U.S. produced 328,000 aircraft during the war. Germany, 119,000. And while America fought a two-ocean war, Germany couldn't defend its own skies. At the heart of this industrial miracle were people like Rose Willing Monroe. A single mother from Kentucky, she'd never worked outside the home before Pearl Harbor. By 1943, she was operating a rivet gun on the B-24 line, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. In a 1984 interview, she recalled, "Every rivet we drove was going to help end the war. We slept in the parking lot between shifts. We had brothers, husbands, sweethearts flying these planes." She became the real-life Rosie the Riveter, the face of a revolution. But to the Nazis, she was invisible. Their racial theories couldn't comprehend a woman, let alone a mongrel workforce, outproducing the Aryan master race. As Albert Speer admitted after the war, to accept that Ford could produce a bomber every hour was to accept that our entire worldview was wrong. That democracy wasn't weak, but strong. That diversity wasn't chaos, but power. In May 1945, as Soviet troops stormed Berlin, American intelligence officers found a final Abwehr report, dated April 20th, 1945, Hitler's last birthday. It read, "Willow Run production confirmed. We reported this truth 2 years ago. We were not believed. Germany dies not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of wisdom to believe intelligence that contradicts what we wish to be true." The report was never delivered. Hitler was in his bunker. The 1,000-year Reich had days to live. And overhead, thousands of American bombers, many built at Willow Run, delivered the final argument German intelligence had tried to make 2 years earlier. Historians now agree. German intelligence was excellent. German intelligence acceptance was catastrophic. The lesson echoes through time. Reality does not bend to ideology. Mathematics does not yield to mythology. Truth ignored becomes tragedy. Willow Run built more than bombers. It built proof that freedom works, that diversity strengthens, that democracy, for all its messiness, can outproduce, out-innovate, and out-endure tyranny. The Nazis counted every bomber. They just refused to believe their own eyes. And that disbelief killed the Third Reich. As surely as any bomb,